you hate this?
It's the waiting.
Yeah, it actually went on. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Empowerment Through Intuition. I am Nora, and my partner and business partner and very good friend, Chris Gurganus. We're here tonight to talk about communicating with the spirits. How do you know whether you should be listening to them or not? Which ones are really guiding you correctly and which aren't? So, a little bit about me. I'm a two-time best-selling author and international speaker on intuition. And Chris will introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Chris Gurganus, and I'm a psychic and medium, a teacher and a healer. And we're here, and we're going to teach you all about the spirits tonight and how you can tell the difference between the good and the bad. And we're going to employ a couple things that you might already have heard about, like intuitive footprints and things of that nature. We're going to get the down and dirty today.
I want to say hi to Halden. Hi, sweetie. Glad you can join us again. Shauna, Laurie, Diane. Oh, you guys are great. Aaron just joined us. It's so nice to have you all join us again. So Chris and I really want to, you have to excuse us as I look away constantly. It's the only way I can do this. Shauna's already voting for Texas. I love it, San Antonio, Texas. Every time you come on the show, you get a vote there. Please vote your city and state. We have three counties. Yeah, we have 3 counties in New Jersey doing really well. And so let's get those other states and cities in and let's see what happens. We got 2 more shows here in June, and then we will tell you where we're going to end up in September. So city and state, guys, and please remember to share the show if you enjoy this. And also the show just isn't Chris and I talking to you, it's us talking to each other. So those who have any input about how they distinguish when they're talking to a spirit, please, let us know. Share with us so we're all, learning from each other, not just Chris and I. Okay? Alrighty. You want to start off with anything, Chris?
Well, Nora and I were talking a little bit earlier about how to recap one of our other webinars about how do you know a spirit's present? How do we hear them? So we're just going to kind of go over that a little bit to get started. We hear it through our psychic hearing. We hear it through images. We hear it through a touch, a smell, a feel, a vibration. Sometimes they bring hot and cold images through you. They just want to let you know they're there. Sometimes they leave things so that you'll know they're hanging about. You heard about pennies from heaven. A lot of times it's love doves. It could be cardinals, blue jays, rainbows. They tell me all kinds of things to tell my clients. Feathers. I mean, anything they can come up with.
Smells and music, real big one that we would hear a lot about.
Electronics, they like to mess with anything that they can make themselves noticeable so that you'll realize, hey, that's mama, or that's grandpa, or that's my sister saying, hey, what are you doing? And that's just all they want to do is communicate with you, and they want to do it in a safe and easy way because they don't want to stress you out either. Because then you come running to me and you're like, what did they say? I don't know what that dream meant. I'll be like, okay, let's sit down and have a session. Have a tissue. Here we go.
We were talking and we realized, you have to be able to distinguish a good spirit or a spirit guide talking to you. So when we're looking at when you're getting advice, so it's a spirit guide. And that spirit guide can be a deceased family member, can be a deceased friend. I mean, you don't have to go through a certain training to be a spirit guide per se. When do you know it is something you can trust? How do you distinguish that? And it took me right back to the intuitive footprint. We talked about this in the Philadelphia conference. We occasionally bring it up on these shows. The intuitive footprint is a way of identifying what type of emotion is present when the spirit is communicating with you. If the emotion of anger is present, You close down, you say a prayer, you walk away, and you go back another day. You do not deal with that spirit, because the spirit, no matter how beautiful it appears in your mind's eye or just in your feelings, or whatever it's saying can be magnificent. If it's being sourced by anger, it is not of God. It is not one of his messengers. It is not one of his guides. It is the other guy's guide. So I'd like you to learn how to distinguish when you feel anger versus it being present versus feeling joy when it's present. And that's not, oh, I feel good, so it must be good. Because the dark side are extremely clever. They're much more manipulative and much more brilliant than we are. Don't kid yourselves. The only way you can distinguish is feeling for the energy presence. And that means getting beyond what you're feeling in the front of you. Like your emotions about what's going on. You want to feel what emotions are coming to you.
But first, they got to be in a state of grace. They have to be covered with prayer. That's Definitely. The only thing that's going to stand between you and something negative, guys. I'm telling you, don't do it unless you pray. Don't even think it unless you pray.
Don't even listen to any guide unless you prayed. So let's grab a couple of these things online, and then we're going to go back to a little bit more about this, because this is really a very important subject. It's extremely important. This is, my life's work as far as I'm concerned. I love that we got San Diego, California. Now we just need about 75 more of those, but they got to come from 75 different people, because my husband will book that flight and get out there right away. He loves San Diego. So thank you, Cynthia, for that vote. And Lori's voting for New York again. Thank you, dear. We appreciate it. Burlington County, yeah, I'm telling you, Burlington County, Camden County, and Atlantic County. It's going to end up in one of those, because New Jersey's like slamming it. Kennett Square, what a beautiful area, too. I like Kennett Square. So thank you, guys. Elena, thanks for joining us. And Aaron, loves your shirt, Chris.
Thank you. It's sparkly, Aaron. I like it.
Carol, thanks for joining us. Guys, feel free to tell us how you make some distinctions too. Laura, thanks for sharing. Oh my gosh, that means so much to us guys when you share, because we get this community out there. Dave, my mom liked butterflies, and at times one will almost touch me. That's great. That is a sign.
Very popular.
Yeah, that is definitely a sign that your mom is present. Now, going back to what we were saying, let's say you felt your mother's presence and you felt there was a message there. Don't think for any moment that the dark side can't imitate your mother's presence. It can imitate the Blessed Mother's presence. It can imitate any presence. Exactly. The vibration is being sourced by anger versus a vibration being sourced by joy. So how do you know? You have this vision of the Holy Mother in front of you. It's like, I don't know about you, but I'll be on the floor in a heartbeat praying. But I also will be aware of where on my body am I sensing the energy coming from that being in front of me. Am I feeling it in the spots where I feel anger, or am I feeling it in the spots where I feel joy? Because if it is anger, no matter how beautiful that apparition is, and mind you, I've never, saw the Blessed Mother in a awake state, so I'm just using it as an example. No matter how beautiful, I would get out of there. I would close down immediately, say a prayer, and be thankful that I knew enough that what was sourcing it was evil, was anger. So, you want to add anything to that before I try to explain how to feel it?
What I do when I am trying to figure out where the information is coming from, first I pray when I wake up, I pray when I go to sleep. And mostly during the day, all day. Like if I drive, I pray. I don't listen to the radio anymore. It just has no necessity for me. So I'm always aware of the negativity that's around me. I can feel it, and I also have an audio system set up with heaven, and I have a signal from them that tells me in my ear and in my head, danger, danger, Will Rogers. If I hear a certain sound in my head, I know something's bad. And what I ask them to do is direct it to me. Tell me what direction is. And I'll feel a pulling to one side. I'll feel like they're pushing me in one direction. And I just put my hand up and I'm like, okay, ding, 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 ding. And that's how I feel it. And I can usually locate it down to one person, one area. And if you look hard enough, you can usually see a visual disturbance in the area because they can't really keep that positive image for very long. Only enough to like blow your socks
To
off and
fool
get
you.
you stunned.
Right, enough to trick you into listening. In my first book, The Spiritual Psychic, two people got really misled, but the one that broke my heart the most was this young mother of two kids. And she listened to this guide that was coming to her and this psychic paranormal worker who told her she can cross spirits to the other side. Well, guess what, guys? Anyone can cross spirits to the other side. It's called prayer. You know, you pray for the spirit, it moves over to the other side. Not a big deal. But he had her convinced she can pull the souls out of hell who were wrongly condemned and bring them to heaven because she's super special and she's wonderful and she has a special gift. And so this spirit over time pumped her ego up so much. She did get fully, I don't know about fully possessed, but she was extremely possessed. She turned down every kind of help possible. Her husband constantly was calling me for help. I even got Lorraine Warren involved because there was children in the house. And Lorraine Warren couldn't do anything for this family. It was the person who got so sucked in with how great she is, which is how they get you. They feed your ego. They get you believing this stuff, and they give you good stuff, and they give you valuable stuff, and then they slowly turn you away toward the dark. It was a sad story, a really, really sad story, because she didn't make that distinction of what spirit should she be listening to, who should she be honoring. And like Chris said, if you're in continuous prayer, you keep that as your forefront. It's really hard to trick you, even if you don't learn the techniques like the intuitive footprint technique. You got a safety net. You have strong angels around you, and pray for your guardian angel because that angel works a lot. And these things are all ways of securing yourself. But
But
I
even
can.
with that, Nora, they can still embody the
Mhm.
spirit and the feeling of our loved ones that have passed because
Oh,
certain humans have tried to do that. And what they do is they wrap it's like a jacket around themselves
yes.
of that
A wolf.
person's
Yeah, a
energy
wolf in sheep's clothing.
to
Exactly.
clothe themselves in their energetic body in somebody that you love and knows would never hurt you.
Exactly.
But
And we fall
eventually,
for it.
you fall for it because you miss that person so much that you love
Yeah.
them and you don't want to believe that that's not going to happen. And it's happened to me. And it's not easy when it happens because you miss that person so much. You want to just believe that they sent this person to help you. And it doesn't necessarily mean that that's correct. And you have to trust your gut. And you have to trust God and the higher power to guide you no matter what that person's saying. Absolutely, whatever they say. Just hear it through your heart chakra and hear it through your psychic chakra and be willing to hear it. Because a lot of problems aren't that you don't hear it, it's that you don't want to hear it. Because I didn't
And
want to hear it.
the the constant being in prayer sounds like crazy, but it's not. When If you ever saw Fiddler on the Roof, the lead character, I know he starts with a T, I can't think of his name. I remember when I first saw that show, I was like 14 years old, and I was like, wow, that is so cool. That man talks to God all day. And if you watch Fiddler on the Roof, 90% of his time he's talking to God. He's, complaining to God about stuff, but it's just a relationship. So you're looking to build a relationship with God, a relationship with your guardian angel, and to enhance your spirituality. But now, it's a good idea also to be able to find other ways. So how do you sense that this thing is being sourced by joy versus anger? And that's what I call the intuitive footprint. Now, those of you who joined us in Philadelphia or who have heard me speak in other places understand what I'm talking about, but I'm going to try to explain it without actually experiencing it. What I do is for years, I tracked what emotions were present in a room that I was not feeling, but I was witnessing. So, two people are fighting, or two people are angry, really angry at each other, which, by the way, is not too hard. This morning, I walked out to my car and two guys are screaming at each other at the top of their lungs on Broad Street. Not a hard thing to find in Philly. When I was testing this, I would feel on my body. I would scan myself quickly and say, where do I feel this energy coming from those two people right now? And I would notice that on the side of my face, with time, I would get a quick flash of heat on the right side of my face. Interesting enough, joyful occasions, my jaw would get tight on the right, just real quick. Like I get a tightness and it goes away. Now, I wish I could say, everybody, if you get a heat flash on the left-hand side of your face, boom, you got it. No, it appears differently on all of us. So it takes time, it takes patience to document this, to be aware of your own energies, to be in a state where you can scan your body quickly, to understand how to put yourself aside, step back and scan yourself so you can feel what's coming at you. It's a process. It's something that takes a lot of time to do, but gosh, it's so worth it. It's like it takes a long time to learn how to run a marathon, but when you do, it's worth it. It's rewarding. This is like a marathon for understanding the energies that are out there. Now, the really cool thing is in September, I will definitely be doing this again in the room, setting it up in a way where you can experience anger, experience joy, and it'll be done for you and you'll have it. You'll be one and done. But if not, you really need to just be conscious of it and notice it. But on that, do not watch a television show where an angry situation is going on and try to feel it. It's different. It's not right. It's not real emotions there. It's acting. Now, some acting, like stage acting, you can argue they really do bring up that emotion, but it's better to witness it for real. So that's just a little footnote. Shall we jump over and see what's going on?
Well, I also want to cover the ghost versus the crossed over spirit and how we go along with that.
Definitely.
And what the difference is between the two and how you tell the difference between the two and what you do, because they're two different situations and you're going to get two polar opposite responses. And you have to know which one you're dealing with and which one's okay for you to talk to and which one you rather just kind of like, not really. Thank you, but no thank you. And walk away, because it's a non-crossed over spirit is a ghost, technically. They either are afraid to approach the gates of heaven, they haven't followed into the light for some reason, and they're tied to earth for some unknown reason. A lot of times, Nora and I used to do that kind of work where we would go out and we would help the investigators and we would tell them this is the problem. But we're not psychic social workers. We don't do that for a living. And we would just come in, We would do our thing, and we get them move along. Other people want to sit down, have a conference, and talk about their issue. No, not my job. Here's the light. Boom, into it you go. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Let me clean up the mess and the energy and be gone. I'm just very no nonsense. And they would know when we were coming, because if some of the spirits and ghosts got trapped long enough, they become dark because they get angry because they're not getting what they want and they still haven't had their issues resolved. And very few times that we did it after we decided we weren't psychic social workers, we would just tell the angels, if God wants us to intervene on a special case, you tell us and we'll intervene and we'll talk to them. And sometimes, I'd say out of the hundreds that we did or we assisted in, there was like a handful of them where we actually said,
just a small handful.
There's this one, God wants us to talk to them. And we look at each other like, ew.
Here we go. What do we tell them?
And he would send angels to guard us to make sure we were safe. But it was those spirits that weren't crossed, that were turning dark, but weren't evil. They were just frustrated. So we would just explain to them.
I'm going to interrupt for just a second. They're the ones that are haunting places. They're not demonic. They're frustrated. They're frustrated. They're angry. They just don't know what to do. And so a lot of times these poor guys get so mislabeled.
And before we even go on a case, Nora and I would clear the area. And we would explain to them how we would tell the guys, listen, you tell us the problem. Give us the street address. We don't even care what town it's in. Just give us the street address. We don't even want that much information. We'll tell us angels, you go with God. You know where you're going. This is where we're going. And we would just go and we would just pray over all of this. And we would clear out all the ones that didn't really need to be there. And then we would be left with the problems. And it was just a lot simpler when you could see the forest for the trees. So how do you know, I got a little digress there. Sorry, guys. So how do you know a ghost from a crossed spirit? A ghost is always going to feel a lot more earthbound, a lot more troubled in a lot of cases, and heavier. Very, very heavy. Whereas a crossed over spirit or a spirit that's been in the light of God, their whole, all of heaven that I've firsthand witnessed is unconditional love. They don't talk any other way. They don't operate any other way. And it's just this sense of warmth and love, and they don't get upset, and everybody just speaks the truth. And it's not like you offended me. If you don't like me and you had something to say that I didn't like, it's just like, okay, so that's how he feels, no big deal. And there's no harshness attached to it like there is on earth. There's regrets and resentments and yucky energy. I don't know how else to explain it. It's really hard to explain. And I tell people when I'm doing readings, the difference between heaven and earth, and when the spirit has to come from heaven to earth. In heaven, it's like running your hand under warm water. Coming down to earth from them is like going and picking up wet concrete with your bare hands. It's just heavy, it's wet, it's bothersome, it's a chore. And you're going to feel the difference between those spirits. And it's going to be like one's going to be light and loving, and the other one's going to be heavy and hard. And sometimes you'll see gray around them. Up here, not here. You'll feel the difference. But there's also another way that Nora and I are going to explain how to tell the spiritual difference between them. Go ahead, Nora. You tell them your way, and then I'll tell them my way.
Well, you're talking about the vibrations?
Right.
Okay. So when spirits are present, or somebody is trying to, I know we really want to focus on guides, but the reason why we're focusing also on ghosts is you don't want to be misled incorrectly. And if they're getting angry and frustrated, they might act like a guide just to have some fun, just try to get you to help them, or just because they don't know what else to do. So
plus they know that you
sense
can see them and hear them.
Right. When the more you're open, the more you do this work, the more exposed you are, the more they come to you. So you really need to practice what we're preaching. Prayer, security, learn how to identify the intuitive footprint, start to even ask your guardian angel, is this safe? Build a relationship with your angel. But to what Chris was saying, when an earthbound spirit or an earthbound ghost is present, you feel an energy like a note playing, a musical note, but it's a low key note. It's a low key vibration, like a deep. It's not bad. It's just a low key note. When a spirit that has already crossed into the presence of God has come back, relaying messages, doing its job, communicating with us as a guide, that note that is so high pitched, it's not hurting, but it's so high that it vibrates where you almost can't hear it, because it's so perfectly, like Chris said, it's hard to explain. It's almost like a piece of crystal being tapped versus a low key on the piano.
Like a rumble of a truck.
Yeah.
How when you're in
I'm
your
trying
house,
to make it sound pretty. But
the
yeah,
18-wheeler goes rolling by the house, and God, there goes another 18-wheeler. Versus,
versus a
and
heart.
you're like, oh, all right, thanks.
So
like
that's
the
definitely.
whole body relaxes when you feel it and you hear it. It's like, ah.
So
but that's just me.
That's how I quickly identify. But of course, I'm always paying attention to the intuitive footprint. That's automatic for me. But go ahead, Chris.
Well, there's another way you can do it, and there's a lot of ways you can do it. These are just some of the ways that we automatically fall back on because it's our comfort zone, and it was what we were taught coming up as mediums and psychics.
Yes.
A, how to protect yourself. B, how to tell whether it's good or it's bad. Those are fundamental steps in our world. And that's why we get so hyper when we tell everybody, pray, 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 center your energy, meditate, do what you got to do, and then open the door. Like, it's not like we open the city doors and go, hi, everybody on Broad Street, come on in. Like, that would be insane. Look at Nora laughing. She's thinking, oh my God, my husband shoot me. Get every wacko.
But it's true. It's true. What Chris is saying, that's a great analogy. You're just not going to open up your doors and invite the world in. And you don't want to open up yourself spiritually and invite the world in, literally, without, so we do stand on the soapbox. We stand on the soapbox and yell this stuff because it's literally that important. So go ahead, Chris. I don't want to interrupt.
That's you. Right. So what I do is I know the spirits that have crossed over, they can't lie. There's no lies in heaven. It just doesn't work like that. So I ask them in my head, have you crossed over? And sometimes if they haven't crossed over, they'll ignore the question. They'll beat around the bush. And then I'll go St. Michael, and they'll go, oh, not him again. Because I know he's my protector and he's the warrior angel. And I'm like, did this said spirit cross over? Have you seen him on the other? Nope, Chris, not one of my guys. Sorry, he's not in heaven yet. I'm like, I didn't think so. He was beating around the bush, and I think he's got some issues. Because he does. The other way you can do it, and this is the way that, I don't know if it's ethical, honestly, but St. Teresa did it, so I'm saying, good enough for her, it's good enough for me. She's a saint, and I'm not.
I like this way. I like this way a lot. Go ahead, tell them.
You come into the room and you see all these spirits, and you want to see who's good and who's bad. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Hi, Jesus. How are you doing, Father? Jesus, 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 reverently. And as soon as you just start saying his name with authority and might and energy and love, they take off like rats in a maze, man. Cockroaches gone. Like you turn the light on and all the cockroaches ran away.
if they're really dark and meaning you harm. Now, you might have some spirits who hang on because it's like, oh, they're calling in a master, maybe I'll get help. And they will get help. Those lost souls
But
often,
they'll usually cluster together, right, Nora?
right. It's
Like it's energy, like
huddle. They
energy.
huddle, right.
Yeah, they huddle and they'll be in the corner and they'll be like,
Hanging out, right. It's like, ooh, should we raise our hand? It's crazy. I know we sound like,
we make it sound like fun, but it really is dearly serious, and
and it
especially
is sad.
to those paranormal guys that go out there and fight this energy every day. It's not something to be joking about, because when we were out there in the thick of things, we were not joking about it. There
No,
were days when
it
we would
is.
come home and we would be shaken and stirred, and we knew who won the battle. And
And
it was
it's
just,
very sad when you have to deal with so much of the spirits. So you paranormal groups out there, kudos. I mean, the ones who do resolution
right,
don't just go out there and say, "Oh yes, your house is haunted." Yeah,
right.
thanks. Should have had a V8. Those of you who go out there, and I met a couple of you when I was when you were helping me with my studies. You guys blow me away. You blow me away. And there's a few that we've worked with, several we've worked with, that
Right.
amazing people. So kudos
There's
to you
some in the
guys.
south, there's some in the north and the northwest that I've worked with, there's some in this
Yeah.
area. It just depends who needs help. We're not above or beyond helping anybody in that area. It's just not our mainstay. We did it because we knew we could, and we were very concerned at one point about how many spirits were out there that weren't getting the help that they needed, and we wanted to make sure there was good resolution to these out there.
Yeah. All right, let me jump over here because this feed is actually starting to disappear on me. And hi, Chris. Thank you for joining us. Jeff, you got to vote for Wilmington. All right. Linda, thank you. And I know we got some questions. I want to grab them. Love you guys. Great show. Thank you, honey. Rebecca, good evening. Cynthia's enjoying our sense of humor. Yes, we are funny people. I think we are. Oh, yeah, Atlantic City. There's another Atlantic County people. I'm telling you, New Jersey's crushing it. Holden, important
Thanks,
to
Renee.
realize. Uh, did I skip her? I'm sorry.
Now I
Holden,
skipped one.
important to realize that God is the most powerful force in the universe. If God wills something, it will happen, no exception. I disagree, Holden, to half of that. God is the most powerful thing in the universe. God is the universe. God is all. But if his will contradicts our will, he does not push his will. That is unconditional love. He will not, if he wanted us to just do his will, we would just automatically love him, and we would be like animals. Animals are always that connection to God. They always have that endless, if the plants, nature, it's all part of God. He gave us free will because he wants us to come back to him and willingly love him for what he does for us. Not love him because he wills it. He's not a militant type of um, king. He's an all loving and willing to wait patiently for our stupidity. So, all right, let's see what else we got. Thank you, though. I really do appreciate that. And you don't have to agree with me. You're more than welcome to fire back. This is one lady's opinion. I am not the end all and be all. Stephanie, hi, y'all. Okay, where's that from? You got to put your city and state, honey. Hi, y'all. It's got to be something down south, right? Uh, let's see. Stephanie is my big sister. Also, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Cynthia, I can look at a picture of my dad and be very angry. I love him, but I'm very angry with him. Okay, the important thing when you're identifying the intuitive footprint is you cannot be feeling that emotion. If you are feeling anger, you can't sense where it's coming to you from another. The idea of intuitive footprint is to feel the other's emotion and you be neutral. so that when that emotion is present, you know it's present. When I used to do readings, I was able to tell emotionally what was going on for the person. Were they having, um, were they really joyful about something? Did they have a lot of gratitude about something? Did they have some sadness? I felt all these impressions on my physical body, and I have a whole little booklet of what each of these impressions mean. So I know by just being in your presence what emotions are going on for you. Little freaky, huh? Watch out. But I'm not feeling it. I am identifying its presence. It is not in me, it is over in you, and I'm identifying it. So if you're looking at your dad's picture and you're getting angry, that is not a way to identify intuitive footprint. Clear? Does that sound clear to you, Chris?
It sounds like you're on the right path there and that they should be able to follow you. But I think a
Okay.
lot of the residual feelings of past situations come through and come up, and it could be a healing.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying don't, work on that, but that is not how you would identify an intuitive footprint. Now, if
Right.
your dad is passed and you're looking at the picture and the anger's coming up, hey, what a great opportunity to say a prayer, ask for guidance, try to heal that, pass, let it go, ask for it to be released. And it's important to get that anger out. Absolutely. But if you were looking at that as a way of identifying an intuitive footprint, no. My sons call it black angels. This is Pamela. Do you know what Pamela is referring to?
Yes, Pamela is referring to what her son calls black angels, which are negative spirits and angels of the nether regions, let's put it, that they're not in the realm of God any longer. And there are such angels.
And I
Lucifer
love
was
it
one of
because
them.
she follows up with once he prays, he says they go away. Always. They cannot take the love and the power that comes with prayer. So
Especially,
wonderful.
ladies and gentlemen, especially from the little people. Teach them how to pray. That can be their safety net all through life. So if you start them young, they'll have the right footprint to go through life, the right path to follow. I
Uh,
teach them as young as I can.
Yeah, my family, it's not traditional way anymore to pray with your family, but my family, we did. My husband, myself, and our three sons, every single morning, knelt down and said morning prayers. It wasn't a big deal. We said the St. Joseph's Prayer, and I swear our lives are so blessed because we did this. I mean, now they're grown men, they have their own families, they're very successful at what they choose to do. That's because we started every morning putting God first. And it was not what the norm is in our society. And you know what? I don't want to be normal. I want the blessings that come from putting God first in the beginning of our day. So do it with your young ones. And if you feel funny about it, sit on your bed, don't kneel, doesn't matter, hold hands, say the Lord's Prayer and start your day. It's great. All right, Dave, not a good thing to do, Cynthia. You are only hurting yourself. Okay, Cynthia. Oh, I don't know, Dave. I don't know if she's hurting herself. If she's very angry with him, she needs to get that anger out. And sometimes the only way to get it out is expressing it. Now, express it to a counselor, express it to a friend, express it to somebody who can help guide you through it, a priest, a pastor. That's a real powerful, good way to handle it. But you
Yeah, because you
can't
want to be able
stop.
to process those feelings, not bottle them up.
Yeah. So it's now if you're just happy to be angry and that's you look at it just to get angry, then I agree with Dave. But I don't think that's where you were headed. Denise, hello. All right, Chris has something here. Thank you guys. I love when you share with us. There are many times when I feel my 11-month-old granddaughter will literally just stop and gaze into my eyes as is she is literally looking into my soul. It's a solemn calm almost like she's trying to tell me something. It's a beautiful, peaceful, familiar gaze. I feel like it's a departed family member. It's so special and beautiful. Ooh, I got goosebumps. I love that.
Because she's especially connected to that child. And that child is communicating with your higher self. She can't speak yet.
But
She's
she's
trying to tell
communicating.
you what her soul needs and her spirit needs. And you instinctively know what she needs, whether it's playtime, spiritual protection, whatever, because your body tends to protect her energy field. And she
And,
just looks at you and she knows that you have the answer she needs.
and the child is so close to have from heaven. She was just there. So she hasn't unlearned it. She still has those memories, and that unconditional love comes with her because she isn't abused. She's a love taking care of child, so she's in a nurturing place so she can express the love that she brought with her easily to you by doing that.
She
And
can
yes,
express it and she can make you see the different vibrations that she brings. And
mhm.
you can identify with them as well because you've learned at this point in your life how to identify with them. And that's important.
And she might be reincarnated family member that you had contact with at one time, and that's part of the familiarity. We really don't know. And Erin, I'd like to say amen. She's got glory to God, and you got that right. Halden, if an individual is under the worst psychic attack that could ever happen in the universe, would their prayers still work just as strongly as prayer of you and Chris? If they decide to pray for a loved one or starved child across the globe. Okay, so this is kind of a twofold question. I don't care how strong the paranormal attack is, prayer will get you free. Now, there are sometimes it attacks you in a way where you are completely frozen and unable to defend yourself. You are literally can't move. Prayer will still protect you. So prayer will get it away. It might not happen immediately because you're still in fear, but it will. You just have to call on Christ, call on Jesus in a reverent way. If you can't think of anything else, just think his name and it will move. Now, prayer for a starving child on the other side of the world, uh, we don't, we can't say for certain it makes a difference, but we can say for certain that prayer makes a difference when we're praying for each other because we see it. We actively follow it on our prayer list. We get all these answers, all this positiveness. So yeah, if we're praying for a starving child, that it's not as difficult or that they find food. How many have found food because of that prayer? We'll never know, but we can say yes, they have, or yes, it's been eased for them because we can see the difference with those around us that we pray for. So I would
It's
say
the
yes.
confidence and the knowing that the Spirit hears your request and that God won't let you down because He's never let you down in the past. But
Exactly.
as far as praying for somebody under psychic attack, you have to realize if they can't speak the words, they can think the words. And because the universal flow in heaven is based on love, if they're in a panic, anything comes directly from your heart goes faster than the speed of light. I can tell you that will get their attention, and it's like a 5 alarm fire on the other side because then everybody comes running. They're like, all right, what happened? What happened? And they want to know if you can't speak and all these alarm bells are going off, what do we do to fix it? And at that point, you're just calling for God because you know if you call for Him, it's going to bring light. Just the name of Jesus brings light. And where there's light, there can't be darkness, guys. It's a balance as old as time and a yin and yang. That's why the Chinese have the symbol black and white, and it's always interwoven in the figure eight if you look at it. That's the Taoism. And it's no different for Christianity. And it's spoken about in the Bible about where there's light and there's darkness and where one begins and one ends, and how there's a divide between it. And this goes on. If you are having a psychic attack like that, that is so intense, and is all you can do is think, Jesus, come and help me, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Um, the light will come and they will break it, but you also have to know some people, when they're under psychic attack, it's because they have an attachment that they don't want to release. And you also
Right.
have to know the difference between a psychic attack and an attachment that's trying to become a possession. I mean, there's a fine line there, and you're going to have to be really careful. So when you go to pray for somebody, pray for their highest good. Don't try to determine what it is that's wrong with them unless you've got somebody with years and years of experience that can go in and feel and sense the spirit and know
And
whether it's dark or not.
and it wouldn't really matter because a person with years and years of experience is just going to pray. We're just going to knock it out that way.
Right.
So, but this is more of a paranormal topic. I really want to focus on when do you listen to these guides. So
Okay.
let's grab the next one.
Well, hold on. I
Cynthia.
also want to tell them about the Saint
Oh
Germain
yeah,
music.
please do.
Guys, if you feel like the house is full, whether it's good spirits, bad spirits, or just full and you want to clear it, sometimes I just put the Saint Germain music, I YouTube it, and I put it on my phone. I just walk around and let it play. Because sometimes there's people with asthmatic problems in the house or they're having bronchitis and you can't smudge. And your holy water or your happy water isn't working fast enough. So you can just use a combination of your tools. And we're just telling you that as another added tool to put in your toolbox, your spiritual toolbox.
I like to listen to the Christian radio station when I'm driving, and it's just so peaceful. It's like nothing happens around me. So that's sort of like prayer for me when I'm listening to the music because I'm singing the psalms and thinking of the words. And it really is uplifting. And somebody today shared with me that that's how when she was younger, when she got out of her house as a child and was on her own, how she could clear out everything that was disturbing. And she tells friends all the time, just put on some good Christian music. And it really is a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool. So if you're not sure if the spirit that is trying to give you guidance, put on some Christian music. And if that spirit's still giving you guidance, listen. Because it's a good spirit. Definitely a way to tell. Cynthia, I light flickers in the dining room at dinner time. We all say hi, Grandma, and it stops. I love it. That's great. And you know what? That's a friendly. When our loved ones come, you could say it's guidance. It's guidance letting you know life does continue. They're confirming it for you, so you don't have fear. And I think that's beautiful. Elena, we love you too, girlfriend. Oh, we had another New Jersey, guys. Franklin. Oh, no, that's Indiana. Franklin, Indiana. We do get Indiana. We usually get one every time. So thank you, Carla. Carla, is this freezing up on anyone else? Heart's going like crazy. Oh, okay. So she's having some trouble with the computer. Renee, I'm here. Hi, ladies. Great to see you voting for New Jersey. I'm looking for any questions or comments. So let me just scan through real quick.
Well, there was one by Rebecca that I saw that I wanted to address.
Did I skip it?
I don't know.
It's going so fast to feed, guys. I apologize. If we don't get to it by a certain point, I can't backtrack. This is a different program.
I remember seeing it, so let me just address it. Rebecca, if the piercing sound in your ears, yes, that is very common for psychics and mediums, more mediums than psychics. And it's the spirit world talking to you. And they get louder and rowdier the less you listen to them. And when I turn them off, they don't like it, so they buzz in my ears. And sometimes I just have to sit there and watch like fixer-upper shows and zone out to get rid of them. But what I do is I just ask them, is it really that important, or are you just being a pain? And they tell me if it's really important. I ask them, is it really important? And sometimes they'll shake their head like this, and they'll be like, not really. Okay, if it's really important, I'll listen. Can I just have a few hours to myself? So just ask them or tell them, give them a date and time that you're going to be back on duty, that you're willing to receive messages. And just write them down.
That's such awesome advice, because if you're open all the time, you can go crazy. I mean, it's not healthy. you need to have downtime. So those of you who are really excellent mediums and pulling in lots of information, or those just opening up, you want to say, no, like you closed a curtain. I always imagine pulling down a curtain. My curtain's closed, guys, so you gotta leave me alone. Once in a while, I hear a little knock, like a curtain's been closed for a while. But that's rare, because, I open it up enough to hear what needs to be heard and help where I'm needed, but it's not open all the time. I need to be in this life
It can't be
present.
like a revolving door. You
Right.
have to be like a bank. They're open 9 to 5. If you want to be open from 3 to 5 every day or whatever time, and you make it, you tell them Eastern Standard Time, Mountain Standard Time,
Yep.
whatever.
And don't be afraid to say, I'm only open for this time, that 10 minutes after my meditation and
Mhm.
my morning meditation, or 10 minutes after my prayer time. They can get in what they need to get in very quickly. You guys don't have to worry about, oh, I need to be open because what if something comes up? They'll get through. Don't worry about it. No, and they'll place it in the right person's mind or heart that they need to. All right. Oh, we got another Astor in Pennsylvania. That's not too far from the other Pennsylvania. The warmth and energy radiates. I have to pray for peaceful sleep or they won't leave me alone. That's Aaron. You're right. You do have to, because you're very open. Definitely. And you should just say, I'm closing the door right now. I'm pulling my blinds. Uh, Forgot to put where I'm from. So my hi y'all, Stephanie is from Tuscaloosa,
Alabama.
AI, Alabama,
Yeah.
Alabama. Oh my gosh, that'd be so cool if we went there. I'd love to see some southern states like that. All right, so you'd have to get a whole ton more people from there, though, because New Jersey's crushing it. Maybe in January or something. Um, Chris, it's like you can feel the love go through your whole body. Yes, if you're talking about the energy that Chris was saying when it's a high vibration, absolutely,
Yeah. And I
absolutely.
usually start above in my crown chakra or above that, and it'll float through.
Oh, okay, here's Rebecca's question, but you did answer it.
Yeah.
Uh, wow, Holden, you got some long questions here, honey, so let's give it a quick whirl. An important fact to know is that God values free will. In any given scenario, God would have to choose between stopping a world tragedy or refraining from imposing his will. The answer is he would always choose to refrain from imposing himself on others, even if a person is about to do an evil deed. This is what I was saying. That's why I disagreed with your other statement. Now I fully agree with you. That is why we have an obligation to distinguish which spirits are good or bad. I love you, man. You really focus and pay attention. God wouldn't tell us which spirit will be good or bad because he doesn't oppose his will on us. True. So therefore, we have to distinguish what is good and bad ourselves and call on him when in danger, because he will only help us if we call on him. 100% correct. All you have to do is call on him, guys, and you will get all the support and help you need, but not if you don't ask. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door shall be open. That is absolute. So thank you, Holden. That was great. Man, you type well. All right. Carolina, she also hears Chris, me too. All right, let's see. Carolina, good to know. I'm not the only one, but it's anyone able to explain. But is anyone able to explain it? Oh, okay. So I think you're referring to what Rebecca was saying, and Chris just explained it. So I hope that
Yeah.
helps. Yes, you are a saint. Laugh out loud. So Renee's calling you a saint, Chris. I know she wouldn't make that mistake with me. I wish I could. It's a bizarre feeling when I hear it. Um, well, you are hearing it. You're saying you wish you could. You are hearing it if you're saying it's a bizarre feeling when you do. So just be more open to it. You're dealing with souls, as Aaron says, and that's true. I mean, these are our equals. These are every soul is a part of us. We're all part of the whole. We're all part of one. So when we're praying and helping these souls, we're praying and helping ourselves because We're all connected. And when I do the morning meditation, I always talk about the energy that comes into our forehead, our third eye, and our crown chakra, the top of our head. Well, that energy is connecting everybody, not just those of us who are meditating in that moment. It is continuously there. So if we're all connected to it, and it's all coming from one place, well, then we're all one. It's like uh, one big being with lots of little tentacles, and each of us is a tentacle.
Like a
uh,
web. We're
I
all
like to think of
interconnected.
when you're a little kid, you draw a picture of the sun,
Right.
and it has all these little lines
Right.
going out, all the rays. Well, we're all on that race, on a ray somewhere. We're each our own ray, but we're all part of the whole. And we're all connected, which is why when Chris or I or another medium or psychic does a reading, all we're doing is pulling ourselves from that point in the ray to the center where everything is. And we read what's going on and what's being told to us for you, and we bring it back. But we couldn't do that if we weren't all connected. So, anyway, I sometimes get so extreme. Oops. I, I actually feel like electricity in my body. That's Chris Smith. I know what you mean. It's like that's that real extreme high vibration I was talking about. Chris, I keep hearing myself through your thing. I don't know if you raised the volume.
I didn't touch a
Yeah.
thing, dear.
All right. So if nobody else is hearing it, we're good. Did I say two
You
or
only have 3 minutes left.
Shauna voted
Nora.
to Texas. I got you because her mother's in Texas. All right. Let me scan real quick, see if there's a question or a share. Knowing Chris, this is Lisa. You've spoken to me of my past mother's ongoing love. I took your advice and spoke out loud, asked her to send me something to do with roses if she could hear me. She did so twice. She chose to send them twice through my son. He found them 2 times and said, something made me want to give this to you. Isn't that beautiful? Oh gosh, Lisa,
That's
thank you.
lovely.
Thank you for sharing that. So you see, guys, you can ask for confirmation. You can ask for the spirits to relay things. Okay, so please share the show. And don't forget your city and states. I'll count them up. And these shows all go onto YouTube, so you're able to access them from Chris's website, www.christinegurganus.com, or my website, www.intuition.com. Chris and I absolutely are looking forward to what we're going to do in September.
It's going to be
We'll
fun,
probably let you
guys.
know. Yeah, by the first week of July, we'll let you know. And we are in the process of working with um, another person. So you're going to have 3 masters that will be offering classes, and we are going to be providing you the kind of stuff that you guys told me you were looking for when I was talking to you. I was looking to find some research, find some things about what people are looking for. And we sat down and we said, why don't we just provide this? So Chris, myself, and Elena, all of us are masters in one area or another, certified out the wazoo with stuff. So we're going to take it on. So I hope you stay tuned, and we'll let you know all about that. So anything else, Chris?
No, just that we're going to have fun. Come play with us next week, too.
Oh, I want to
And
read
share,
this real
share,
quick.
share.
I want to read this real quick. It's from Jeff. Jeff is one of those paranormal people that go out there into the field and really make a difference. I know my spirit guide is an American Indian and has been trying to confirm his name. What is the best way to do this? I know the name isn't really necessary, but would like to communicate with him by name. Okay, before Chris answers, I have to tell you what my grandson said to me. He says, what is my guardian angel's name? I said, they don't care what you call him. What do you want to call him? And he goes, Al. I have no idea where he got the name Al. There's no relatives in the family named Al. I'm like, okay, call him Al. It's like, okay, Chris, how would you confirm the guardian's
Well,
name?
you can just ask the higher spirit to introduce you and to give you the name. And you'll hear it in your head. May not make sense to you, but you'll hear it. And they may not give their proper name. Sometimes they Americanize it so you'll understand. If you want their proper Indian name, you must ask for that. Just telling you.
Okay. I'm going to do my best to address the questions when we get off air. So if you do have a comment there, don't worry about it. We'll get to it. And if you don't, just message us. We'll make sure we answer it. So guys, thank you so much for joining Chris and I again. You all
Thank
have
you
a
for coming.
have a great, blessed week. And see those of you who get up early in the morning to meditate tomorrow. Bye now.
Bye.